the day you got the idea to do the corner class. Tell us that story.
All right, so there's 2 days, 2 stories. First story is the inception or the planting of the idea in my head to get in my truck or my car at a white BMW 750. And the idea was to get in my car, pull up like in South Jersey, Philly, North, whatever, put a flip chart in my trunk, hop out in the hood, which is actually what I'm gonna do next. No plan, no social media, no post, no production. I'm gonna put a flip chart in the back of my trunk and just pull up on the block where some brothers at and give game. That was the original plan. Was just to hop out in the corner, set a flip chart, and say what y'all want to learn. I got you. And teach. I sat on that idea for like a year. Everybody who, like my proteges, my boys, my homies, they all heard it. It was like, yo, that's dope. And we did nothing for a year. I just sat on it, went and laid back down on the couch. And then a year later, God moved me again and was like, yo, I was kind of like, what's up with that idea I said before, hood hopping? It was like, yo, we should do that. And then I've been more, that's when I started learning about being more intentional, doing things on purpose. And I was like, let me just intentionally do that idea. Instead of making roadblocks like, well, who's gonna come and where I'm gonna do it at and what if the cops come and what if they shut the corner down and what if, just do it, right? That's the whole more of the story is like, force the progress, I call it, be intentional. And so I went and did it in Baltimore. I did it in the wintertime. This is how you know it was real niche. I did it in the wintertime with a Scully hat on. I had wool gloves on with the fingers cut out. Big jacket on. My daughter had a big fur on. She came, my younger daughter, London, she was like 9 years old. And we did a corner class in the wintertime in Baltimore in January. 2016. Yeah, 2016. And months later, I did one in Bankhead in Atlanta at the Walmart. And mad people came, like 90 people came, which to me was a lot of people to be on the corner. I'm like, oh shit, Baltimore's like 50, 60, 70 people in the winter outside learning. And then after Atlanta, that's like my second corner class in Bankhead. That's when I was like, my movement to be dope in Atlanta. And at that time, somebody crossed the parking lot was like, Jay Morrison, I respect your movement, bro. And I knew it was time for me to move. And I literally moved in 2016. 2 months later, I moved to Atlanta. And since then, I've been in Atlanta. And we've seen what I've done, what God has done through me, through my being obedient and being in Atlanta. We've been able to build a black house. We've been able to shut down Houston for discrimination. We've been able to launch Big Brother Anonymous with the Obama Foundation. We've been able to, I got married, built a family, right? Had success and scaled jay-morrison-academy, influenced a whole generation of entrepreneurs. All that. From being obedient to the seed of first hood hopping, corner class, come to Atlanta, serve my people, all that. So, story time.
Do you have any stories of anybody from doing the corner class this past 6 years that like you remember to this day who had an impact on you while you were out there?
There was a queen in Newark, New Jersey who said she was like maybe homeless or a shelter or in between homes. She had a baby on her hip, a baby in a stroller, had 2 kids. And we got the video in Newark, New Jersey, in South Thames, Springfield, and she cried. And just talked about how it inspired her. That was super big. There was another king recently in Brooklyn who was 40 years old who cried and gave me his story about being his family CEO. That was pretty big. There was a guy that was maybe high or drunk in New Orleans who wasn't learning at the class. He kind of disrupted the class, but I didn't feel no way about it, and I just showed him love and showed him dignity. And that display of black love and that display of human love and Christ-like love was also super big. I mean, there's moments and moments for days, but those are some moments that certainly stand out to me after 68 corner classes.
And if this were to be like the last corner class tour, what is it that you want people to take away from the corner class in general?
That you can meet people where they're at. You can make an impact with very little, right? Outside the cameras and all that, any one of us can go to our community. We can just talk on the corner. We can teach on the corner. We can get a $20 flip chart and literally teach the skill sets we know and empower our community. We could bring education and revolutionize education in a grassroots way that you can serve your gifts and serve your people without a big nonprofit and a bunch of bells and whistles. Like, it don't take all of that. If you want to serve your people, go serve. And it also just, which I'm gonna talk about tonight, it's what King Noel calls is seed planting. Outside the 68 corner classes or inside the 68 corner classes, we held a 24-hour corner class where we taught from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. We called a class every other hour, 12 classes, right? And that level of show of dedication, determination, and seed planting is universal law. You reap what you sow. So if you sow those kind of seeds of love and empowerment and everything else, you'll reap those kind of seeds. And so that's something I'm so impacted by. I feel like I planted like hella seeds throughout or heavenly seeds throughout the country, and only do and have been reaping great seeds and great harvest, and loving on my people and leading by example.
And speaking of leading by example, what are your thoughts on people who want to duplicate this model?
Well, my thought is, first and foremost, just do the work outside of any technicalities. But if you want to literally duplicate what we do, we are working to train others to do it, or to advise or counsel others to do it. And if you do it, the corner class is a brand that we trademarked, right, of teaching in the streets. So we just ask that folks just pay homage of inspiration, which like Queen Naja did in LA. She went on a corner class tour in LA, and she paid homage to me and our firm for what we did in inspiring that. Just honestly, again, for good universal law, like that's what we're supposed to do is we pay homage, we edify, we give credit, and then I edify and give credit, and we just reciprocate love and respect and dignity and all of that. So not that anybody has to. I'm just saying, if you were inspired by our work, inspired by our obedience, again, I give homage to Christ, because I was inspired by actually reading the Bible and saw how Jesus taught in the streets. I give homage to Malcolm X, because I was inspired by Malcolm X because he taught in the streets. So I pay homage to those who inspired me to actually do something this intentional and this, prolific.